our big vision is to be in 50 states, and then with a global reach is our vision, with Canada and Mexico on the radar. It's literally when we want to dominate North America in our space as leaders, serving other people at the biggest possible level. Wow, the founding of CGP in the early days, this is my whole life was about making repairs. Growing up, we didn't have the affordability to go into a home or a rental that was ready for us to move into. We started at my really young age of probably 5 or 6. We would find a very distressed, affordable home for us at the time. We would go and renovate it, and then we would move in. And at about 5 years old or so, I started fixing things that I had no idea. And back then, a long time ago, is I would take all the hardware off of doors and I would strip it down on a grinding wheel and I would repaint this hardware. And through that discovery, I would learn that there was broken hardware on these old antiquated doors, and I would make repairs of this door. Today, I'm skilled masterfully at door repairs, and this is kind of crazy, full circle, if you will. But I literally started fixing just about everything, and by 7, I was able to weld. And since then, I've literally done just about every kind of trade growing up. And so at about 12 years old, I had this vision. I'm going to be a CEO. And at 12, you can remember when you were 12, at 12 years old, I didn't even know what CEO meant. But there was this vision that I was supposed to lead in some fashion, some way. I was supposed to lead a company. And as I started to get older, at about 18, I started gravitating managing. I was managing restaurants. And so full circle is managing restaurants, the ability to fix. Restaurants broke, I would fix it as the manager, as the system manager, and that evolved in a very short period, 12 to 18 months. It evolved to, I think I can create a business around this. I found my calling at that point, that I was called to manage a facility that didn't even exist at that time. And that's really how CGP was born, was from a vision of 12 years old and the ability to repair everything. There was nothing I couldn't repair. And I've taught probably thousands at this point how to make repairs on things they didn't know yet. And so that's the beginning of CGP. That was really the start, is a belief that we could fix anything. And we now employ a lot of people with that belief. The change in facilities over the last 40 years of my business was there was nobody in our space. We started creating a business that there was no one in. And up till probably 20 years ago, I was asked by a business coach that I had hired for myself, and they said, well, we need to know who your competition is. And I said, I don't have any. And they literally were flabbergasted that I was naive enough to believe that I didn't have a competitor. My belief up to that point is we were so uniquely different, there was nobody in our space. They were trying to catch us, but there was nobody near what we were doing. The diversity in what we were capable of and what we were capable of training our other teammates to come into was so radically different than anyone else. I had no competition. And until we got bigger and started hiring more people, then we started discovering that there was competition. We were hiring like-minded people that were the same people were being hired by our competition. It made us like our competition. And so I had to step back and take a look at that, and I had to say, wow, we got to go back to the no competition. We've got to continually lead the way so they follow and we lead. And that's really what we've done in our business. We've only done different things than anyone else. And we repair differently, we respond differently, we communicate differently, and that's really been what our drive is. So we may have competitors in our space today, but they're still trying to catch us. They're still not equal to what we do. We are uniquely different, and we employ really unique individuals to make sure they're leading our industry. Key decisions and turning points to grow the business back, way back when, was there was just opportunities and we'd capitalize on the opportunities. So acquaintances, circles of influence, is we were starting to grow in a kind of a fast pace, and we were doing grocery stores and large anchor clients. So we would get, say, a CVS that was in the middle of a strip center. We'd pick them up, and the other tenants in the building would start to ask, were we available for other repairs or renovations or expansions? We had also discovered that as the economy changed, it either is growing, people are expanding their space, or it's compressing and then they're consolidating their space. So they scale down. And in both cases, they needed a contractor to build out their space. So we started building space. We would make it bigger. And then the next few years later, we would downsize it and we would keep the same brands. And so over the years, we've been able to keep saying, I have the same original first client we've ever done business with to this day. He's a personal friend. He's a personal mentor. He's now 86 years old. He's just a great person, but he's still our client. And we still work with his company that he's still in business. He still goes to the office every day, by the way. He's a hell of a gentleman. He's just a super kind guy. And we've been very blessed in the fact that when we would acquire a new client, we worked our tail off to keep them. And we have some of the world's largest C-stores still client. 35 years later, we still do business with them. We have the world's largest coffee store, 25 years in business with them. So we've been able to procure these national brands that we've been able to serve really well and keep them. And in doing so, that is a unique quality in our space. They have high turnover. We haven't had the high turnover. We've had limited turnover, but it has been decisive. We also decide if a client is qualified to work with us, not are we qualified to work for them. We know we're qualified to work for anyone in the retail space and restaurant space. We're more than qualified. Are they qualified to be with us? That's a really important thing for us. That only happened about 15 years ago. We started making those types of decisions. We wanted to control our destiny. We wanted to control our future. So we became very decisive in what we would do. Culture of CGP today versus maybe yesteryear. And the culture hasn't changed. At our very core, it was to serve people, period. And we needed to figure out the best way to do that. And that means tools, opportunities for growth. That means stuff we needed to learn we didn't know yet. And we've spent crazy amounts of money in education, opportunities to grow people. So we would outpace everyone else. And so some of those same core values, we have 11 core values today. And one of them is we serve others. It's that simple. We treat others as we would treat our great-grandmother. That's literally one of our core, with dignity and respect. We don't care who you are, but we're going to treat you like we would treat our great-grandmother. You don't use profanity. If she says, would you get a cup of tea? You say yes, and what flavor would you like? That's the only questions. And so that's really at our very core. And people coming in, it's a struggle for them to learn that because they're like, that can't be real. And then they experience it because we in the leadership role even serve our employees and the incoming people. We serve them the same way that I would serve my great-grandmother. Dignity and respect, with intentions of growing them, spending time with them, mentoring them, helping them learn in a very authentic way. They don't have to fabricate. They don't have to lie. They don't have to do any of those things, but full ownership. They can make mistakes. We embrace the mistakes as an opportunity. Those are the core values that we have. That's what we live by. Leadership to me after 40 years, what does that mean is one, I have tremendous responsibility. And it means that I have tremendous opportunities simultaneously. I get to be impacted by the newest of the new. People that are coming into my space that have never been there is an opportunity for me to grow because of one, maybe their naivety or their lack of knowledge. Just their rawness teaches me that I could be better. I can embrace them. I can learn from them. I regularly, in the speech, I say, thanks for teaching me. It's literally regularly that I think that's a tremendous opportunity. Evolving for 40 years in leadership, what we know today isn't what's going to get us to where we need to be tomorrow. And learning from 40 years of that, that just gave us a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of tools in 40 years, and we've got to pick and choose which tools are appropriate today. And if you don't have a diverse crew, I mean a very diverse crew from age and ethnicity and everything else in between, that's the true growth because they're all contributors. And the discovery is that you want to love them and you want to be able to have love unconditionally from them. And when you can do that, that is what building a team's about. That's at our core. That's leadership lessons that we teach, and it's what I live by. For me, like I think I was talking earlier today about this with somebody, but when I hear somebody speaking in my voice and they're replicating what our core values are, I think there's a tremendous thing in that. I just geek up about that because I'm like, man, it's working. We're really, truly changing lives one at a time, one family at a time, one group at a time, one city at a time, one world at a time by individuals. And I think we spend so much time doing that I would say the legacy we've developed is really the impact of lives. And usually when I set somebody down and say, I'm gonna mentor you if you welcome this, I'm gonna mentor you, I'm gonna teach you to be a leader. And here's what to expect when you get home. Not today, but in 2 weeks, your family's gonna say you're different. And as soon as you tell me that, we'll accelerate what you're doing because that means you've embraced it. Now you're starting to talk about it more frequently. And as you start to evolve, they're going to change. And as they change, they're going to support your change, and then you're going to accelerate. And so that's when I go all in. And so I watch that legacy is getting built by how we're impacting lives, and we're going to keep doing that because that's truly the legacy. I tell people regularly, I can lead any kind. I go lead GM. It's just a people skill. And you gotta care genuinely about people. You gotta love them unconditionally. They can do stupid things just like I do, but you still gotta love. There can't be a string attached to the love. You gotta care. You gotta be very passionate about that. And if you are, you're going to create a legacy for yourself. You're going to create one for your family, and the people in the family is going to create it for the next generation. That's the legacy. So CGP has always had a goal of developing leaders that will procure the company itself. I literally wanted to develop leaders that would buy CGP and diminish my role and responsibility as I start to age out. I think it's a powerful thing that in our level of play, in our space, in many states as we are going to, our big vision is to be in 50 states, and then with a global reach is our vision with Canada and Mexico on the radar. It's literally when we want to dominate North America in our space as leaders, serving other people at the biggest possible level. With the team we've built, I want them to take the company from me and let me be a part of the consulting group later. I'm still only 59. I got a long ways to go, but that is what I've always desired to build is people that will ultimately take the company from me. And by a natural attrition of just saying, okay, let's set him over here, let him consult. We've got things to do and let them lead. I think there's some power in that. I think we have a great team. I have tenured employees. I have people with me for 30 plus years, 35 years. And folks have been with me a long time. And I think we got the right team. I think they're going to eventually be able to do that. One big piece of advice when we were first starting, spend more time with family. It's one thing I didn't do. I literally put my everything I had, every waking moment, into building a business. And I thought that was the way to do it. And it was for me. But I wish I would have had a little bit different perspective on that. Would we have grown as fast? Maybe not. But that's a crystal ball that I can't answer. I don't have that question. So I would say find a way. There is no life career balance. That's a myth. People talk about that, the ones that want to sell you a bill of goods. In my opinion, the reality is there's something that demands high attention, and it could be your career. All of a sudden, you're like in this tense spot, and you've got to grow through that. There's a sacrifice to family for that. And in career, your family is going to demand your time at some point, and you're going to have to spend time with family and sacrifice career. So there's no career-life balance. There's a sacrifice at any given time. For me, I sacrificed a lot of the family time specifically to grow other people in careers. And I think I would have balanced that slightly different. I would have allowed family to dictate better of my time. I can't go back, and I don't desire to do that. I would have done that differently. So for new leaders coming up or new entrepreneurs coming up, I would say try to focus on when the family needs you, be very present, be where your feet are, be mentally present. And then when the career needs you and the business needs you, be 100% there as well. You can call that your life-career balance, but it's completely out of balance most of the time. Most of the time. I don't see that changing, certainly not for me, at least an opinion.